Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving right into the absolute spine of all GXP compliance, the Computerized System Lifecycle. Now, you might be thinking this is just some one-and-done IT event. Nope. Actually, scratch that. It is a full-blown chronological end-to-end journey. We're talking from the very first light bulb moment of a system's conception all the way to its eventual retirement. So let's map this whole thing out together.
Okay, let's dive into this, because here is where so many organizations get it completely wrong. They treat these systems like short-term IT projects. You know the drill, just rushing to hit a go-live date. But if you do that without properly integrating into your overarching quality management system, wow, you are just generating massive compliance debt for yourself. You absolutely have to build quality in for the long haul. You can't just cross your fingers and try to inspect it on launch day.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that long haul looks like. The journey basically breaks down into 4 distinct phases: concept, project, operation, and finally retirement. Every single GXP system out there moves through these exact same gates. And we use these phases as, well, essentially guardrails, right? To ensure no one just rushes from one stage to the next without absolute, rock-solid, documented evidence.
So let's look at phase 1, concept. Now, put the keyboards down because we aren't building or coding anything yet. This phase is all about laying the groundwork. It's where you define the exact business case and figure out your initial risk classification. And here's a pro tip. Bringing quality assurance to the table right here, literally at step 1, is an absolute game changer. It aligns everything with the QMS early on and prevents incredibly expensive, painful rework downstream.
All right, moving on to phase 2, which is the project. This is where the heavy lifting of the actual validation work happens. And the whole thing is guided by this overarching V-model structure. Think of the V-model like a giant mirror. It connects the system requirements you're defining on the left side directly to the qualifications and testing on the right side. It basically ensures that every single thing you build is structurally verified against what you actually asked for.
Let's move to and see how this builds step by step. This project phase is completely driven by sequential deliverables. First up, the User Requirements Specification, or URS. This is you putting your foot down and defining exactly what the system must do. Second is supplier selection. And hey, remember, outsourcing your software doesn't mean you're outsourcing your regulatory accountability. You still own that. And finally, number 3 is the validation plan, which officially locks in your scope and your strategy. So the project finally goes live. High fives all round, right? Well, yes. But now we enter phase 3, operation. And honestly, this phase can last for a decade or more. Releasing the system, that was just the starting line. Once it's running, your primary goal, day in and day out, is answering one incredibly critical question. Is the system still fit for purpose? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that big number 1. Because surprisingly, even if a system has had literally 0 major changes, you still have to do a routine checkup. Typically, this is an annual periodic review. It's kind of like going to the doctor for a physical when you feel totally fine. It's a deep investigative health check where you review incident trends, audit trails, and change histories just to revalidate that its fitness for purpose hasn't drifted at all over the last 12 months. But the periodic review isn't the only thing going on in phase 3. You also have to run continuous, comprehensive user training and enforce strictly formal change control. Because think about it, the most perfectly validated system in the world is totally useless if your team is operating it poorly. And if you make any unassessed modifications, well, you're essentially turning your next production batch into an uncontrolled science experiment. No thanks. So the crucial point is that everything comes to an end, bringing us to phase 4, retirement. And spoiler alert for you all, you cannot just yank the plug on a server or let a software license expire and walk away. Absolutely no way. Treating retirement as just some basic IT cleanup task is a massive compliance failure. Retirement is, in itself, a highly formal validation activity. Because of that, retirement has to happen in very highly controlled steps. First off, data migration. You have to securely move and validate all that legacy GXP data. Next up is archiving, which means preserving those vital records in a totally readable format for years, maybe even decades to come. It is only after all of that is locked down that we execute step 3, decommissioning. That's when you formally deactivate access and shut down the hardware, all officially sealed up with the final retirement report. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought.
The lifecycle transforms CSV from project work to an ongoing capability. By truly respecting this entire journey, from concept all the way through to retirement, compliance stops being a mad scramble and becomes a reliable daily discipline. So, as you head back to your own teams, ask yourself, is your organization just finishing up IT projects, or are you genuinely managing an ongoing capability?